All right, let's make our way to North American soil and Major League Soccer. And the semifinals for each conference are set, gentlemen. Here is the bracket. Take a look at this. You have Houston taking on Kansas. You have Seattle, LAFC. On the other side, Cincinnati, Philadelphia, Orlando, Columbus. But here's the thing, guys. And I feel like this has been forever. And I know that it's so tricky with the scheduling, but without fail, there is a FIFA window during the MLS playoffs. So the MLS semifinals will actually not start until November 25th. They have almost 2 weeks now because of this international break. And we know that MLS is constantly, they've finessed their playoffs. They've tried to change things up. You don't get a home game if you're the lower seed, the one and done, best of 3 this year. They're trying to do a lot of things to keep fans engaged and keep their attention. But Wheels, how hard is it if you're a fan to stay invested? You have all this momentum, and now, you got like 2 weeks before the semifinals are played.
Yeah, you're invested if your team is playing in your market. Like that's where you are right now. But to the casual fan, it's just providing opportunity for people to check out. This is the tough thing, and it's not necessarily MLS's fault. It's this international window has always thrown a wrench into the buildup towards MLS Cup. And now they had their last game of the regular season, October 21st. The MLS Cup final is not till December 9th. We're only through one round of games. And like you said it, Andy, over a month between the final game of the regular season and round 2 beginning, it's just a logistical nightmare. They started last season in the last week of February. They're starting earlier and earlier and doing what they can, but it's complicated based on all the different competitions. They have the brand new Champions Cup coming up, more MLS participants in that. The Leagues Cup, where the league took a break this season. I thought it went really well, but logistically might need some work. Domestically, the U.S. Open Cup, the Canadian Championship up here. There's just a lot of games and a lot of different competitions, but they need to find a way how to have MLS Cup staged every year before this November international window. It's imperative. Just it provides a little bit of a bookend. I would suggest that they add something to the front end of the schedule, maybe start right at the end of January in a warm weather climate. They love coming up with brand new ideas, things that can get people excited. What about a little bit of a preseason tournament or a in-season tournament to kick off the season that's in a warm weather climate that travelers can support to almost make it like a big launch event, start of the MLS season tournament, something along those lines. I just think that you could extend the season, shorten the off season, but still you need to wrap things up before this international window. It's just a logistical nightmare. None of the teams like it as well. Their players going off and some don't. It's just a mess. So I think that they need to get a little bit creative when it comes to that.
NWSL does that to start their season, by the way, what you're talking about, that little tournament to get it going in a warmer climate. Ollie, how are you feeling about this challenge that MLS faces?
Yeah, starting earlier and finishing earlier does seem like kind of a logical thing to do. So you kind of wonder why they haven't done it. Is it something to do with not wanting their playoff games to be competing in kind of October, maybe late September with baseball, with the other North American leagues starting up their seasons and getting a bit of attention? I don't know. I'm not sure what their rationale is there. I just think I don't agree with their approach kind of on a fundamental level of, they seem to, they obviously want more games in MLS that can kind of command a national audience, right, on TV with their major TV partners that they had in the past. Obviously, they moved in a different direction with Apple now, but they still want those nationally relevant games. And I think their way of going about it has been, well, the playoff games are generally quite popular, so let's have more playoff games and extend the playoffs and make them really long. And knockout football is quite popular, so let's add the Leagues Cup and play a mid-season tournament to create that kind of knockout feel. And for me, it's just kind of dancing around the root cause of the issue they have, which is the regular season doesn't matter enough. The regular season games, no one really cares about outside of the local markets that support their teams. And I don't think they're really going to get out of this kind of issue they're in terms of their season structure until they really come to terms with that and address that. But they don't seem to really want to do it, and they make changes to the playoffs and add Leagues Cup, like I said, instead. So it's at a bit of an impasse, I think, in that regard.
And look, to add to that, I agree with Ollie tenfold, but for me, every time with the MLS, when I'm watching games and trying to track 30 teams now, there are too many teams that get a playoff berth. Let's just start there. There's just too many. That like literally too many teams end up playing the final matches in the end of the season. I think I nothing beats a try. My grandma used to say that, right? Try. Okay, the best of 3 bit that happened this season, that ain't it. That's not where we should be going in the MLS. Just wrap it up. And I agree with Wheels. It has to end before November. One, even though they're probably one of the best nights seeing TFC when they won, but playing in December, and if you end up in a North American market and it's cold, that is just not the really ideal situation for football.
Yep.
And in November, where for everyone across the board, it is probably a decent climate, right? But for me, those are the 2 things that need to change. I sound like a Debbie Downer there, but that is just, it's imperative that happens.
Nah, but listen, I was hosting those games in December when TFC made the final. It's not fun. But the break, guys, it really is so long. And as we know, I lived in the same house as somebody who made a final, and I forgot because there was so much break in between. I'm like planning a family vacation.
Right.
Like, yo, babe, we got a final play. I'm like, what? Yeah, so crazy.
You playing?
You playing still?
Still.
The calendar says there's a
Oh,
chance to break. Let's get to our Tony Bet top picks. Tony Bet top picks presented by Tony Bet. Let's stick with MLS because we are down to our final 8. Let's pick your winner here, gentlemen. The favorite, the Supporter Shield winners, FC Cincinnati at plus 251. The long shot is Sporting KC at plus 1277. Who's your pick to win the cup, Wheels?
Columbus Crew, I believe it's plus 797. That's the best bet for me. There was 2 games I wanted to avoid: Seattle, LAFC, because I think it's going to be a really tightly contested tie. Same thing with Cincinnati, Philadelphia. No disrespect to Orlando, they've had an incredible season, but I think it's favorable for a Columbus Crew team that continues to impress. They're well balanced, they have depth, they have solid options. They have Canadians for Andy Petrillo. I just think that the Crew might be might be a sneaky pick with some good betting value on Tony Bet.
Listen, I am a huge Bezbachenko fan. Always have, always will be. Love it. Ollie?
Yeah, Columbus was my pick at the start, so I'm going to stick with that as well. Seattle and Philadelphia are a lot longer than their opponents, LAFC and Cincinnati, and I'm not sure I agree with that, so maybe there's a bit of value there too.
Jardo, bring us home.
Yeah, I think LAFC is winning. I think they're doing the back-to-back, like the Jays in 91-92, plus 282. Just the names I can't get by. The Chiellini, Vela, like there's certain names, Buanga. I just think they're going to show up when they need. But if they beat Seattle, I'm putting all my chips behind them for sure.
I love a good squad with Canadians. Jordan loves a good squad where he can just pronounce the names. La, 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 la. That's what Jordan loves. He loves it. Loves it.
They're both
Peace
there.
out, everyone.